Hello everybody, Bob Giglio here again on my workshop with another project that I think you might have some interest in. So this project involves repairing and restoring an old stained glass window. Here's the window. I had removed it actually from my mother's house and I'm kind of renovating her house. But anyways, as you can see, it's a stained glass octagon shaped window, and I went out and already started to disassemble it. Cleaned it up a lot, so you can see this bottom mullion here of the frame is totally gone. It was rotted. When I took it out, it just crumbled on me. So the construction of the window is it has this frame that goes all the way around it, and the stained glass just fits right into it like that, with a nice rabbet that it sits into. It has some brick mold here on top of it to secure it to the house. But essentially, this is the actual window frame here that we're going to start to rebuild first. So, and I don't want to use wood because after, I think my brother installed this maybe 30 years ago, it survived pretty well. But now, as you can see what happens to it, this is the outside of it, and it just gets destroyed with the weather. And this is the inside of it here, which is, as you can see, in much better shape. But what my plan is to go ahead and rebuild this frame, not out of wood, but out of PVC, so it will never rot again. So to start with, we need to recreate this window frame, these mullions here that these glass sits into. So, and to do that, I went ahead and measured up the existing frame, and I made this little drawing here. And it looks like it is just a window frame that has basically a 2-inch width or depth to it and an 1.7 height. It has this rabbet for the glass to fit into, 7/8 by 1/2. And then each of the octagon cuts here divide 360 degrees by 8, you get 45 degrees. So each one of those pieces of wood frame is 45 degrees on the angle. So the miter cuts here would be half of that, 22.5, as I show in my drawing. So we're going to first kind of mill the stock to create this frame. I could not get anything in solid PVC other than this windowsill here. As you can see, this piece, it's the closest I could get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and machine this down or cut it down to recreate this this profile here. And so let's go ahead and do that. So using my little drawing here and noting all the dimensions, I went ahead and I kind of laid out the best kind of arrangement I could fit onto this material with the minimal waste and gets me closest I can to the dimensions. So if you see these black lines, that is basically the window frame that we want to make for this project. And the only shortcoming we have is that this dimension here from this point to here should be 2 inches, and it's only 1.75 inches. So what I need to do is I need to actually then add another piece to the bottom after I make these cuts to build it out to make it the overall height of the sill of the frame 2 inches. So we're going to use another piece here after we make these cuts on the table saw. We're going to go ahead and add that glue a piece on the bottom using PVC cement and a So here is the window mullion that I made. And as I said earlier, we need now to pad this out and add some dimension to this. This from this point to this point is only 1.75 inches. little bit less, 1 3/4. So we're gonna go ahead. I bought this 1 by 2 material PVC, and I've cut it to length. I cut both these pieces. It was one longer piece, but I cut it in half so it's easier to work with. So anyways, this is going to add the dimension. Now it's thicker than what we want it to be. We only needed like 5/16 total to get exact, width here. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue it up now, and then and then trim it back to the exact size of 2 inches. So the gluing process is a lot like the wood gluing process, only this is PVC. So what I have here is I have some clear primer and I have some clear PVC glue. So we're going to just glue this up just like it's wood. It's no different. I'm going to, except for the glue itself, I'm going to just prime these surfaces, just clean them. And this is a etcher and cleaner. So it cleans and then roughens up, takes the gloss off so the glue can bite better. So we're going to just put that in there. And unlike wood glue, this glue sets up really fast. So I have some clamps nearby in case we need them, but we don't have a lot of time to work with this. So we're going to be fast. That's why I also cut them into 2 pieces, because it will make it faster for me to spread the glue and then assemble them. Okay. After letting the PVC cement dry overnight, they're now ready to be ripped down to the 2-inch width that we're going for to match the original window frame pieces. With the window frame stock now finished, we're going ahead and cut to dimension, to size each of these pieces. We're going to cut 8 pieces. And like I said before, each one of these angles is 45 degrees, which is basically just 360 degrees divided by 8. And so we're going to then cut 22 and a half, because each joint is half of that 45. So let's go to our miter saw and start cutting. So I very carefully cut this sample piece to length. I'm going to use it as a template. So I line it up exactly to where these joints are here. So, and I made successive cuts until I got it exactly on those marks. And it works out to be about 8 7/8 from this dimension to that dimension. So because this measurement is precise and a little bit of error here on each piece is going to magnify times 8 around here and give me a different dimension overall, and the angles won't line up perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a template, and I went to my saw, and now that I know this is the correct size, I went ahead and put a stop block here. That will give me the perfect size every time. Okay, I dry fitted the pieces together, as you see. And there is our new frame. Here's the old one. So we're just going to check some dimensions to make sure that we get everything right. It's 18 and a half, looks like 18 and 5/8. Here, all sides. Yes. Yes. Let's check the old frame. It's 18, yep, 5/8. 9/16. So it might be a little bit off, but maybe when I tighten these joints up, they'll tighten up as well. And then here, the outside dimension is 21 and 5/8. And here, 21 and 5/8. Perfect. 21 and 5/8. So we've reproduced the frame, as you see. Now we're going to start to make the joints here. To assemble a frame and keep the joints nice and tight, I decided to build this little jig right here, which are basically 2 pieces of scrap wood cut at the 22.5-degree angle each one, giving me a 45. And then what I did was I set up my drill press. So I'm placing the frame pieces against each other. So I set my drill press up here. And what I do is I'm going to drill a hole at the right angle into the piece, the mating piece. And what I'm going to use once the hole is drilled are these nice pocket screws. And the pocket screws will go right into here from the other piece. So I'm going to use some glue on it as well, and it's going to be a nice tight joint. So this piece has been set up. I cut this angle here at 39 degrees. A little bit different than the 22.5 because I want the screw to come in at a sharper angle. You'll see going into the other piece. And I just positioned it so that I'm in the center of this piece here, and I'm in the right position, as you can see here, for the hole to come out right about in the center of the stock. So I get a really strong joint when I'm done. I'm going to use, again, the PVC cement. And because these are cut ends and they're really nice and rough and clean, I'm not going to use any primer. So I'm just going to take this plastic burr off here, and I'm going to apply the PVC cement to both sides of the joint. And this will give me extra strength. I don't depend on this totally because it doesn't hold strongly for at least 24 hours. So that's why I'm going to use the fasteners in combination with this. Give me a nice strong joint. With the frame built now, we'll go ahead and we're going to put the glass in. I cleaned up the glass, and then I'm going to use, I have some flat stock here, some 1/2-inch PVC flat stock. So I'm going to rip this down and make the trim molding that goes inside. Once I set the window into a bead of caulk, glass into a bead of caulk, then I'm going to rip these sections down and make the trim molding that I'm going to then tack on the inside the window stop or the glass stop to prevent the window from coming forward. After giving it sanding, as you saw, the frame is complete with the glass installed. It's all caulked. So now the next step is to add the trim that goes around the window in the house. So the original trim, here's the original window frame, and the original trim was a brick mold that had a parting molding here that grew out the brick mold to about stand off of the frame by about 2¼ inches. So instead of doing that, which is a problem because you see how this brick mold with this piece of molding here barely sits on the frame. So I don't know whether that was an afterthought by the carpenter who installed this, but we really don't have enough coverage here. I'd like to get a better coverage like that, less of a reveal on the wood frame. So what I decided to do was I went out and I bought this 1x4 Tech PVC. We're going to use that now as a replacement to the brick mold because this is not obviously wide enough. And to simplify the project, I'm just going to have, instead of this is actually 2.5 all total combined. The brick mold itself, separated from this piece of molding, is only 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a 1x4, which is 3.5 inches. It's going to reduce my reveal. So instead of having a nearly 1¼ reveal going off the edge of the frame almost, I'm going to have like a 3/4 inch reveal. So let's cut a piece and see how it overhangs, how it fits. The key here to make sure it fits back into the house with siding is cut out. I don't want any problems there. Is to make sure that the dimension where the molding stands off of the frame, you can see it here, this dimension here is 2¼ So I'm going to make sure I maintain that dimension. Because so to get the length of each piece, what I did was I took one of the pieces that I had removed from the frame, and I basically did a 22.5 on this cut. They're all going to be 22.5 like the window frame. And I line it up here, and I'm going to draw a mark here. This is going to be a test piece to see if it's the right size, and we'll go from there. So I have a correction to make. I went back, and here's the trial piece you saw me cut, and I placed it on the frame like we talked about, and it turns out that with a 2.1/8 inch reveal, which is the corrected value, not 2¼ after I measured it again, because things weren't lining up. So basically, it's going to move the trim piece further in on top of the frame, and I don't get my reveal. So what I decided to do was the piece is cut correctly to the correct length, and I'm just going to trim it back. I'm going to rip it down by 1/2 inch, and that will give me a nice 1/2 inch reveal. So I'm going to do that on a table saw. Okay, with the piece ripped down, I get a nice reveal. That's about what I want. I get the 2.1/8 standoff, like we talked about, and the dimension is cut right because it intersects these seams perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and cut 8 pieces like this, or 7 more, and using this as a template. Now with the window trim pieces cut, I lay them out, and now I'm going to decide how to attach the joints. So, and I decided, like last time on the wood frame, I'm going to go ahead and use these pocket screws. And this time I'm going to use them on the face, and this is a very typical application for them. And I test drilled one of these holes, or these pieces, using my jig. So it's been set up to do all 8 pieces. And I'm going to go around and putting it into the jig, drill in the pocket holes, and then I'm going to prepare the joints for gluing and setup. So to make the joint, I'm going to go back to my trusty PVC cement. I'm going to use this clamp, a crate clamp, to make sure the faces are completely flat when I do screw them together. So I'm going to put some cement on each end of the trim piece. Position them together. I'm going to clamp them. And I'm going to use these 1¼ Craig pocket screws. Go right in the pockets we drilled. This makes a very strong joint. Together with the PVC cement, it's going to be very strong. Okay, so here it is, all finished. Like you saw me, glued up and pocket screwed all the joints, and it fits nicely over the frame, over the window frame. And I get my 2 1/8 inch offset overhang from the window frame, so it worked out really nice. One last thing to do is just gonna make some head flashing for it. The original window had some head flashing. Here's the old head flashing, so I'm just gonna cut up some aluminum and make a nice cap for it like this to protect it from getting water behind it, and we're good to go. So here's the final product. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. So it's a completely PVC frame, so it would never rot when I reinstall it. So here's the drip cap I made, cut around the top. So I'm going to install that. I'm going to install the window back up in Edward Street. I didn't attach the frame, the trim to the frame yet, because I wanted to be able to, my idea is to install the window first, so shim it in place in the rough opening, get it in the right position, and then put this trim piece on, attach this trim piece, because I want to be able to maneuver it around to fit in case I have any issues with the siding. So I want to be able to have some flexibility there. So I'm not going to attach it right now. And when I do get up there and attach it, I'm going to use the traditional PVC screws that are going to go. I'm going to just probably put one in each leg of the trim, and I'm going to then put these plugs in to plug the holes, and you won't even see it. So that's going to attach to the house and then attach it to the frame. I'm going to just shoot some brads in here with my pneumatic nailer, stainless steel nails, of course, and we're good. So thank you very much for watching.